I want to preface my remarks by explaining that they are not directed at any of you personally, but rather to your agency. I'm State Representative Todd Stephens. I represent Horsham Township, Upper Dublin, parts of Upper Dublin Township and Lower Gwinnett, as well as all of Montgomery Township. I'm proud to be a lifelong resident of Horsham, where my parents still live, and where my wife and I are raising our 4- and 6-year-old boys. My family and I had been drinking public water in Horsham our entire lives, until suddenly we found out we shouldn't be a few years ago. Ronald Reagan famously said the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." 30 years after he delivered those remarks, your agency is embodying that sentiment with our local residents. The federal government caused this water contamination, so let me be clear. Neither Horsham Township residents, Horsham Township itself, nor the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania should bear the cost to clean it up or for the health precautions necessary to protect ourselves and our families. In 2016, I was the first public official to call on the federal government to adopt a zero-tolerance policy for PFOS and PFOA, and to provide our community with carbon filters to remove the contaminants, blood testing with biomonitoring, and a comprehensive health study. Cosmo, you were at DEP, I think, at the time when I called for that. I was joined in my efforts by a broad bipartisan group of elected officials, including Governor Wolf, U.S. Senators Casey and Toomey, and Congressman then Mike Fitzpatrick and Brendan Boyle. The EPA and Department of Defense have perpetually failed our community. So I secured $10 million in state funding for carbon filters to remove contaminants from the public water system in Horsham Township. This funding prevented residents from bearing over $800 each in annual surcharge fees. Unfortunately, to have clean water, our local residents are still paying a surcharge which the federal government should be paying. Instead of acting swiftly and prudently to help protect public health, here's what the EPA has done in our community over the past couple of years. The EPA told us that water containing less than 600 parts per trillion combined of PFOS and PFOA was safe, and then they told us it's not. The EPA knowingly allowed water to come out of our faucets in our homes that was not safe for infants to drink. Think about that for a minute. The EPA knew our water contained these chemicals. The EPA knew that it wasn't safe for infants to drink formula made with water containing these chemicals. It's on your fact sheet. Yet you still allowed the water to come into our homes and out of our faucets. The EPA told us water containing less than 70 parts per trillion combined was safe. And now, according to ATSDR, it's not. Notwithstanding the ATSDR's recent report that the EPA standard is not adequate to protect public health, you're still allowing unsafe levels of PFOS and PFOA in drinking water across the country. The EPA's lack of urgency and incompetence has remained consistent through the past 2 administrations. However, I was most outraged to learn recently that the EPA, the Department of Defense, and the White House tried to hide the ATSDR report, showing that your current drinking water standards for PFOS and PFOA are not adequate to keep Americans safe. It absolutely disgusts me that the federal government would put PR concerns above public health concerns. This utter disregard for public health is a complete dereliction of your duty to protect us from environmental hazards. The federal government must fulfill its obligations to our community by adopting a zero-tolerance policy, paying to remove all the contaminants from our drinking water and eliminating the local surcharge, providing biomonitoring to anyone exposed to these contaminants, and conducting a comprehensive health study so we can understand what, if any, health effects we might face. This is what the federal government would expect from a private polluter, and it's what we expect from the federal government.